Welcome, welcome to the Mow Money Mindset. My name is Dana. Thank you for checking out today's video if you're watching this on YouTube. And if you are deciding to listen wherever podcasts are played and you happen to stop by and catch this podcast, I'm so grateful and I thank you for spending some time with me today. This is unedited. I have no notes. I have nothing but my Audacity file playing in front of me as I'm recording. I'm truly just going to be as unfiltered and free as I can. I've been listening a lot, and I mean binge listening to Mike Andy's podcast all the way from 2020 up to now. I'm somewhere in like the 2022 range. I've been listening and binge listening to Brian's Lawn Maintenance podcast, and they are giving out such great information. They're truly giving away the game of lawn care and landscaping and home service industry businesses. And it's just a wealth of knowledge. If you haven't listened to those two podcasts and you are in this industry, you're dealing with making Mow money, listen, and you want to work on your mindset, I can't think of two better places to go. I'm sure that there are others out there, but I'm just telling you, I've been locked into what they've been telling me and the information they give. So I'm so grateful to those guys. And one thing I noticed that they do is they do like unfiltered podcasts. You know, they kind of just go off of the dome. Sometimes they do have things scripted. I think Mike Andes just takes the audio from his YouTube videos and just posts them, you know, to his podcast. Like he doesn't do introduction or anything like that. He just kind of like, it's like a video you can watch on YouTube. He just takes the audio and boom. I was like, that's genius. You know, he's getting multiple uses out of one, form of social media content. I think that's awesome. And so I said, you know what, I'm going to take a page out their book. I'm not going to be worried about all of the, intricacies and, if I stutter or if I say too many words or interruptions. I'm just going to go, man. It has been a whirlwind of a ride. I pray that the Lord will just lead me today on this podcast because it has been a whirlwind of a ride. To button up the last year, essentially in August 3rd, I got into a really bad car accident, ended up breaking a couple bones. I did do a video about my comeback from that, but that time was a crazy time. As grateful as I was to be alive, I also had a lot of things on my plate in terms of being a business owner, running multiple trucks, having multiple employees, and not really being able to be involved in the operations because I was in recovery during that time. One by one, I started losing employees. And before I knew it, we hit January where I lost my last employee right before snow hit. And I had no employees to help me get through the snow season, let alone figuring out how in the world I'm going to deal with this coming spring. So if you saw the videos from last year in spring, it was like me, the shop is full of guys out there learning and training. I'm walking around showing stuff. And I think when you're in that space, there's this euphoria and this feeling of invincibility. Like, not like I'm invincible, but I guess like I never thought at that time that I could lose all of that. I never thought at that time I'd ever go back to being a solo entrepreneur. I never thought at that time that the business might crumble. I might lose half. I lost half of my clientele going into this year, my returning customers. I never thought that I would be back out in the field as much. And even the employees I had, I never thought that they would leave and go anywhere else. Not just because we had great relationships and a great culture, but I genuinely just wasn't thinking that, hey, they're going to get hit with life just like I did. They got hit with circumstances. A lot of my employees that ended up leaving the company, it wasn't due to being overworked or not enough work coming in or anything like that. It was literally life hit them just like it hit me with the accident. And they had to make some major adjustments and some major shifts. And, one thing after another. And before I knew it, I was a solo operator again. And so today's episode of the podcast, when it comes to Mow Money Mindset, I think I want you guys, it's not necessarily to dwell on failure or to dwell on moving backwards in your journey or to dwell on going back out in the field if you found a place and you're in a position where you're not. I think that I want you guys to have a certain sense of gratefulness for where you're at, regardless of what stage it's in. If you are a solo operator, like, be grateful, because that doesn't have to be the case. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you have employees, be grateful. And I think that if we lock into that gratefulness side of us, I think that one thing has shown me as I've locked into that is, I noticed this year some of the challenges I've met with as being a solo operator, and then hiring my first employee to help about 3 weeks ago. Just that transition in that phase, I'm really now starting to focus and lock into working on the business and working on the business and its interaction with the people. I'm becoming very people invested. From my customers to my employees, the communities I serve in. I'm trying to be a better resource and more value to the people, because I really see, after losing all the employees from last year, after losing half of the clients from last year, and not because they were dissatisfied with service. Let me clear that up. My clients that I lost, and when I say those half of my clients, many of them I had to let go of because I could not service that large of an area and that many clients as a solo operator. And some people's like, well, okay, well, then where's the hiring? Well, let me help you with that too. I realized that the process I had to hire and onboard wasn't sufficient. With me leaving the field last year from August through January, not being able to work due to recovery from the accident, I realized, like, as I looked at my business and as I started to see the employees kind of one by one leave and this and that, I was like, okay, I really don't have a grasp on my systems and on my processes like I thought I did. I did just enough, what I'm saying? Just enough. I had an onboarding. I had a generic handbook. I had, the Connect Team app, and I was connecting with everybody. And I had some semblance of a training program. I had all these little things that, when you have nothing, they seem like a lot. But I knew that after looking and really looking at my business during that downtime, seeing and saying, hey, but you don't have the things that are necessary to reach the level of success, the level of revenue, to build the type of culture and have the mentality and the culture of the employee. You don't have those things in place to maintain that or to achieve that. And so it was a big revelation for me to see the business kind of crumble and fall apart, losing half the revenue, over half the revenue, half the customers, and all the employees. Every single one of them that you saw in those videos has gone. None of them have returned this year, whether it be because they found other options and, whatever the case is, that's where I stand. And so my most recent videos you've seen has been me talking about solo operator setup, things I'm doing right now as a solo operator. And that's like, wait a minute, did he just did his last videos before that? Yeah. So that's the reason for the long hiatus. I'm glad to be back. But again, I think gratitude, man, take time to really be in the moment, be grateful for where you're at. Today, literally today, you guys, woke up, had 20 properties to go do. Me and my guy, 2 men in a truck. We're going to get out and get to it and conquer the world and make some great money today. And I'm telling you, by 8 a.m., my truck was spewing out radiator fluid. I had to pull over. It was overheating. I was about a mile away from my shop. It started overheating. I had to pull over. I had one of my brother's employees in my truck with me. I was bringing him to the shop. He needed a ride. And so I was in the area. I picked him up and we couldn't get to the shop. My brother had to rush over antifreeze so we could make it to the shop. Got to the shop. And I thought that the problem would just, kind of fix its own. Maybe something was low, maybe whatever. No, the entire radiator blew up. I had to replace the radiator. Had to have a mobile mechanic come out to the shop and deal with the radiator. They do it, install it. I come back to the shop to pick up the truck and get started for the day, me and my employee. And before as we get out, we probably got about 5 houses done. Guess what happens? The truck starts smoking and there's fluid everywhere. I'm like, what is going on? We look under the hood and find out that the main hose that hooks into the radiator is not clamped or connected. So all of the radiator fluid had been just spilling out these last couple houses and drives we've been doing, and the truck overheats again. So we're stuck on the side of the road waiting for the mobile mechanic to come and repair his work and repair what happened and what went wrong. And this is no disrespect to them, I'm not here to bash their business or anything, so we're not going to do that. But they did their thing, came and fixed it, and guess what? The problem didn't get fixed. Just found out that I actually now have to purchase a thermostat and a water pump, because those are the only other two items in a vehicle that actually control the temperature. And so since now I've got a brand new radiator in there and that's not working, that means it's got to be one of the other two. So we ended up only leaving with 5 or 6 done for the whole day. 5 or 6 houses out of 20. My guy got a full 7.5 hours worth of, paid work. He's going to be paid for 7.5 hours a day after only doing 6 houses. And I'm out of $500 before buying the water pump and the thermostat. And I have no clue what he'll charge me to actually install them tomorrow. But both of those together are another $100. So it's like days like this, you know what I'm saying? There's days where you conquer the world. There's days like this. But my guy said something to me. My employee was sitting in the car with me, and he knew and saw, he's been with me all day, so he saw the financial pressure and how stuff was going. He saw we had somebody come fix this problem. An hour later it breaks again. What's going on? Those guys, I don't know if they forgot to clamp the hose or what, but they did something wrong and we end up running into the problem again. So he's seeing me go through all of these problems, and he said, bro, I wish he was here. I should have thought to have him on the show. But he said to me, man, it's amazing to me that you just keep laughing and smiling through all of this. He said, you really he said, man, I feel like you masking how you truly feel, the frustration. He's like, I know you're frustrated. I know you was angry with them because they didn't properly fix your vehicle. Now they're telling you need, X $100 more of work done. We've only got 5 or 6 houses done, and you got to make payroll today and this and that. He's like, I know, you're just getting hung up and frustrated. He's like, man, how I don't understand why you keep laughing and smiling. Why you're such a joyful and peaceful guy. And I said this to him. I said, man, to God be the glory. To God be the glory, man. I almost lost my life last year. How can I be upset about a truck breaking down? Even if it is my only truck. Even if it is all I got. Even if I have lost half my customers, and I definitely don't want to lose any more. I've gained quite a few back, done some great marketing this year, gained quite a few back. But even if all of that, I said, man, I read something a while back that said, do you want to have the old problems or would you rather have your present problems? Because when I started my company, I didn't have a truck, neither did I have money to get one. And I remember standing in my living room crying, tears, crying, Lord, I don't know what I'm going to do. I ain't got no job. I ain't got no money. And I want to start this company, but I have no business. I have no way to get what I need. I don't have the credit to go and get a loan. I don't know what to do. I'm trying my best. And I remember crying and sobbing. I'm about to wrap it up here. And there was a young man that called my brother. And he told my brother, listen, this is what he told him. He said, I heard that you were starting a lawn care company. My brother told him, yeah, he is. He's trying to get one off the ground. He said, the Lord told me. These are his words, not mine. He said, the Lord told me to give you my truck. I didn't call this guy and ask him for nothing. I didn't tell this guy nothing. He didn't know nothing about my situation. I was 2019, July of 2019. He said, the Lord told me. to tell you to come get my truck free of charge. And he gave me my first truck, a Chevy Silverado. I think it was 2004 or something like that. Chevy Silverado 1500, had 200,000 miles on it. The floor was so rusted out, if you lift up the mats, you could see the pavement. You know what I'm saying? But it was mine, and it was given to me out the blue. You know what I'm saying? From a friend of a friend. Like, not even somebody I rock with like that. Like from a friend of a friend. Like, I knew the guy, but like not to the point where you know what I'm saying, you give somebody a vehicle. We wasn't like that. You know what I'm saying? So I think about that problem I had and how distressed I was. I didn't know how I was going to make it through, how me and my family was going to make it through, how I was going to make it as a man and provide for my family and children. And the Lord brought that blessing. But I remember that problem, and I said, I said to him, like, I'd rather have this problem than go back to that problem. I still remember that problem 6 years later. I still remember where I came from 6 years later. Yes, last year I was rocking and rolling, cruise. I was barely going out to work. I was doing a lot of estimates, trying to do stuff on the back end, and set up, making moves and making money. Yes. And now I'm back to square one. But I know who got my back. I know where my faith lies. I might not have all the answers. I might not be the most suave and, you know what I'm saying, the most mentally, intellectually strong. Man, this is called the Mow Money Mindset. I might not even have the best. I know for a fact I'm not the sharpest tool in the shed. The proof is in the pudding, the writing's on the wall. Go look at my videos, you'll see it. I looked at some of the videos, I'd be cringing, like, what was I thinking? What was I doing? I was doing the best I could with what I had. And now I've got something better than I had back then, and that's perspective. That's revelation. And it's now shaping the way that I'm handling business moving forward. The setback has really transformed not only the way I think, but the way I make decisions, the way I speak. You know what I'm saying? The way I do business, the way I conduct and carry myself. It's moving me in the right direction. So, I just want to say that, man. I hope that today, like, if you got anything from it, like, really take a moment to be grateful. Understand that tomorrow's not promised, and nothing that you have today is promised to be there tomorrow. I didn't think none of the employees was going nowhere. I didn't think none of my clients was going nowhere. I didn't think none of the money that was coming in was going nowhere. Even after I got in the accident, I didn't think that. I thought that it was just going to keep rolling in, keep going up, keep getting better, keep getting stronger. And that's not what happened. That's not what happened. So if you find yourself in my position, you were on top of the world one day and now you have no clue how. You're at the lowest pit. Please don't give up. Keep going. Don't give up. And I don't know where your faith lies, but I encourage you to put it in Jesus. That's where I put mine. And he ain't never let me down. This ain't a sermon. I ain't here to preach to you, but I got to be real. Perspective is perspective. He's never let me down. And I know he's not going to let me stay here. He's not going to leave me here. He'll lead me and get me up out of here. And so, the problems of today, that old problem, and I told him, I'm grateful and I'm all right. And I'm going to see this thing through. By the grace of God, I'm going to see this thing through. So the guy's coming out tomorrow. Hopefully he'll install and fix everything. My truck will be up and running and I'll be able to get the wheels turning and get back to it. And if not, then the Lord has a ram in the bush. You feel me? He got a ram in the bush somewhere. He's got a ram in the bush for me. I'm going to be able to do everything I need to do to take care of my family. You know what I mean? To take care of my business, to take care of my employee that has, been such a blessing and an asset to me. I'm going to do another episode where I talk about him. But I'm going to wrap it up right here. Thank you guys for joining me today on this episode. We're coming up to 20 minutes, and I really want to try and keep these episodes short, sweet, and to the point. I don't want to get lost in the sauce. Gratefulness, man, gratitude. And I think if you apply that lens like over your eyes to, everything you do, it'll help you really deal with it in a different way. It'll truly help you deal with everything from life and marriage and kids and everything, problems and challenges, business. I'm just grateful. I'm grateful for the good that comes with it. I'm grateful for the bad that comes with it, because it all works together. That's what the Bible tells us. All things work together for the good of those that love the Lord and are called according to his purpose. And so there it is, man. What else can I say? I hope y'all enjoyed today's episode. I thank y'all for checking it out. If you're watching us, please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And if you're listening wherever podcasts are played, I know it's a small podcast. Not many people know about it or know who I am. And that's not the purpose, to know me. I'm just hoping that what I say and what I do here can be of some value to those who listen. And so please, I pray that y'all will get the word out. Y'all will please leave a 5-star review for a young brother doing something like this. And I look forward to seeing y'all on the next episode. Until then, let's make more money. Peace.